Yo, welcome to another episode of the Bjj Goons podcast. I'm your host, Tim, the MUSHMASTER Spriggs, and with me as always every week is...
Yo, what's up, everybody? It's Nico Ball, no new Nico. Glad to be back for another week. Last week here in America.
Yes, for a while at least. You're going to be gone for 9 weeks, correct?
Dang, you got it down to like the 9 weeks. Yeah, I guess till like August 10th, a little into August, yeah.
You excited?
No, I'm just kind of nervous, you know. I'm gonna be excited, but now I gotta worry about like luggage, getting these boxes, you know, all that last minute prep. I have barely started packing, but it's gonna be dope. So the excitement will come.
You like to live dangerously. You're barely started packing. You leave Saturday?
Yeah. I mean, I had to acquire things. Like, I had to see how much of the donations I would be able to bring down. So I was kind of focused on that. Like, I know somebody that's going to be able to bring down two suitcases. I can bring down one. And then I've just kind of been, like, throwing clothes in a suitcase that I know I'm going to take. And I got to find my bathing suits and everything. But, yeah, I've barely started. I packed all my work stuff. Like, I've been getting work stuff together.
All right, so just to clarify, what exactly is the game plan for you in Brazil? What are your goals in Brazil?
Well, first off, I have to go to the Polícia Federal, like I was explaining, on the last episode. That's for favela jiu-jitsu. So I have an online website in Brazil, and we produce clothes and we sell clothes, and everything in the store has been going into like a bank account in my name for the business that it can only receive money. I can't transfer it out to my partner without like uploading a photo ID, like the correct photo ID. They won't accept my passport. So I have to go get that ID so I can like finalize my bank account. I also have to do like a quality check on the products and then discuss any new products that we might be wanting to add. It's kind of hard to do that from the U.S. Like, there's a reason that we haven't produced favela jiu-jitsu in Brazil until now, and it's because, you know, you can do things like really cheaply, but sometimes it comes out like being weird, or the sizes are weird, or the quality is weird. So now I'm gonna go down there and be able to see. I've been using like 2 different producers, one in Rio and one in Sao Paulo. So, and they've been working together. So we'll all get to like meet up. We have like one of the producers in Rio, she sells like the stuff at tournaments. So on July 10th, there will be one of those tournaments. So I'll get to see like what she actually does in the tournaments where she's selling my products, which will be really cool. And my partner from Sao Paulo should be there. And then that's one part of favela jiu-jitsu. The second part of favela jiu-jitsu would actually be going to social projects and getting content. So I have to go to Família Bangu with Fabio Andrade. I have to go to Brazil, Projeto Brazil 021 with Andre Ternacio he's in Chicago now, but he has a social project in Rio. I'm going to go see Perninha, who is from Gordo Jiu-Jitsu in the Ilhas de Goiás, where Eduardo Hockey and Camila Hockey are from. And I'm actually going to be staying with him for a while because it's cheaper. So I have an Airbnb for 2 weeks. After that, I'm going to go to Jagoya, and then after that, I'll go down to Sao Paulo.
That is like a really thorough trip. That's a lot of stuff to get done in 9 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, like normally it would be better to do like 2 or 3 whole months. Like, I've tried to condense it all into like 3 weeks one time. And I don't know if a lot of people know it, like the last trip I went, like, and that's what I do every time I go there, because I run favela jiu-jitsu, but I'm in the U.S. I need to get the content from the favela. Well, last time I went there and I got it, like favela tours, interviews, like with all the kids from the City of God that train with Gabi Pasania, like all of them talking about how much they wanted to compete at Worlds and be like Gabi. Like, I went to Europeans that year, and then they broke into my Airbnb and they stole all of that because they stole my laptop, my memory drive, and all my hard drives. So I lost all of that footage from Rio. So it's been like 4 years since I've actually been able to go get my own footage. Like, that's why I pay other people to get footage in Rio for me.
How much of a stockpile of footage do you plan on getting? Like, how many weeks, months worth of content you think you're going to be able to get?
It's hard to tell. Like, it's really, there's this. I need to know if I need a COVID test before I get on the plane. So I asked Muhammad, and then he finally just answered me, and he said, yeah. Oh, crap. That's a problem.
Yikes.
So how much content? It all really depends because I have a lot of business stuff to do for the first time, like going to the Policia Federal. And I know last time it was very stressful. Like my goal is to go to Familia Bangu and Projeto 021 and like get into interviews with them because those are two projects that do a lot of work and they're not in Zona Sul, so they're harder to get to, and there's not a lot of content with them. It's really hard to get to Bangu, actually. Like I tried, and you have to take a train out there, and it's like really far. So I'm gonna go with my partner from Sao Paulo when he comes up. I'm gonna make him go with me because like, it's even though I speak Portuguese, it's a little bit easier to get out there. And then also, even if you're getting lost, especially when I have all my camera equipment, like I don't want to be getting lost out in the train, especially if it's after night training, which we probably will be in Bangu, like by myself, trying to ask for directions. Like, it's better to have like an actual Brazilian with you.
Is Bangu like the trenches?
Yeah, Bangu is like the trenches. Like all favelas are considered the trenches, but it's like the trenches by the nice neighborhoods compared to the trenches out where God knows where. Like,
And the Bangu and other neighborhoods like it, they're out in the suburbs, would you say?
yeah. So, like, they're in the west. So, I always call it the Wild Wild West because, like, Copacabana's in, like, Zona Sul, the south zone. Zona Norte is where you're going to find, like, the also favelas, but, like, hip-hop dances and all those kind of baile funkis, a lot of samba. But, like, City of God is out west. And I would say City of God, like, even where Muhammad's from, like, Barreira, I think, like, that's out kind of west by Jacarapagua, like, past Baja. Like, Baja's where I'm going to be going. So, if you have, like, Zona Sul here and then Baja and then City of the God, and then Bangu's even further out west. Like, so I always just call it the Wild Wild West because I have no idea how to get there.
Is it hard to get around in Brazil? I've been there before, but we kind of stayed in the same general area because we were in big shows. Is it hard to get around?
In Rio, no, not really, especially now that they have the metro. So you can take the metro, you can take Uber. Like I was telling you before we started recording, like I switched over my cell phone plan to T-Mobile because T-Mobile has like free international so that it will immediately work. Before when I was traveling, I have an international phone or just an unlocked phone with a SIM card. So I would get to the country and I'd get a local SIM card and I could open it up. And then even if I didn't want to use the international phone because it was cheap, I could use the Wi-Fi to get my real phone to work. But now this time, because I'm getting there at like 1 o'clock at night and because I have business and I'm just like, I don't want the hassle. Like I just completely switched my phone bill. So my phone should work there. So it's like you can call Uber and that's fine. Like the problem is trying to call Uber if you're trying to use the Wi-Fi of like a hotel or something or like the juice spot, which is really common. But now I think a lot of people have international rates for their phone, or I would highly suggest like getting some kind of SIM card locally there. But to get a SIM card, you need to have your phone paid off.
So for everyone watching or listening, you can't really see, but we have how many pounds worth of product from Virus International at the studio?
240.
Can you talk a little bit about the logistics of getting all that stuff from here to the airport to Brazil?
Well, first it came from Virus and it got shipped to Tim's house. First to the P.O. box and then to Tim's house. From here, unfortunately, I was not able to find a ride. So from here, if we gotta say I can take a suitcase and then somebody else can take 2 suitcases, and I need 3 suitcases worth of stuff back in D.C. by tomorrow. Packed up and left tomorrow because today is Thursday. Tomorrow I have to leave the other ones to whoever's taking them and get mine ready, and then I leave on Saturday. So somehow I need to fit 150 pounds in my car. And then you guys should know by now that I drive a Toyota MR2, which is a 2-seater. So like, I know one of these boxes will fit in the passenger seat, but like probably not 2. And then my trunk, there's like a little trunk that's like teeny tiny, so like a box won't fit. So we're about to have to like break down the boxes. I meant to bring a duffel bag, but I forgot. So yeah, I'm basically about to just shove my car full of spats and compression shorts. My mom was able to find me 5 used suitcases. that she's bringing down on Friday. So I can't actually pack these up until my mom gets down here on Friday, which probably won't be till like 1 p.m. So when she gets here, she'll bring the suitcases to my house. They have to be divided. They have to be weighed out, and then they have to be dropped off uptown, which is going to be annoying.
And
actually.
so, does your mom have a pickup truck or something like that?
No. I also need geese. Like somebody donated some geese, and normally like I wouldn't take. I would have just said no, or I wouldn't offer to take geese, but they're my size geese. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take them down because I haven't really been training because I need surgery, but like I'm definitely planning on training a little bit down there. So I'll just use these geese that are donations, and then when I leave, I'll leave the geese there because I can't take down more geese than I actually need because they're so heavy.
And Virus sent them to you. Like, you were kind of, I'd say, like, they're the plug, you're the middleman, and you're going to give it to the Custies in Brazil. So they kind of entrusted you with all this stuff thinking that you're going to take it down there, as opposed to them just sending it there, correct?
Well, they sent it to the nonprofit because Today Kids Project is a nonprofit in the U.S., and I'm the executive director. So... And they would have tried to ship it to Brazil, but as the executive director and knowing how shipping is, like I told them that like that, not to do that because it was very likely that they would get lost. Like
Lost or lost?
Yeah, who knows? Or that it would be very expensive. Like Muhammad tried to send, I think it was geese or mats down from Grips, and he had to pay for the shipping, and then he ended up having to pay like $1,000 in customs, and then when they got there, the customs tried to charge them more in customs or something like that. It was hell. So like, and then also one time somebody shipped like 100 belts from England and they just disappeared. So there's a lot of things that could happen, and it could take a really long time to get there. And I talked to somebody. Not somebody. I talked to Al's wife when we were doing Randori, and she was saying like, yeah, it's not easy to ship, and she knows like a shipping company in Boston, but like the price of that and the expense it'd be too much. Like the easiest and the most cost effective way is to take it down in extra suitcases, which theoretically, if it wasn't for the pandemic, would be super easy because Brazilians come and go all of the time, and it would just be a matter of like coordinating with certain Brazilians, like at a competition to have them take the suitcase down. So that's what's going to happen with whatever gets left in your house today. FYI.
You're just going to distribute it. We're just pushing weight out the crib.
Like, for example, Eduardo Hawke, he said he's going back in November. Well, baby.
Oh, nice.
You going back with an extra suitcase. I hope you're not moving back, like, because, you know, I'll even fly that suitcase down to Miami for you, you know.
Wow. And all this gear is going to go strictly just for Fernando Today Kids Project, correct?
Well, it shouldn't. Like, there's a lot, and it's all girls' geese. So, you know, the idea would be to have like some kind of event with multiple projects, like a girls' camp.
And the virus stuff too, that's going to go. I mean, there's more than girl stuff in there, right?
It's all girl stuff. No, it's all
girl stuff.
It's all girl stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, screw y'all boys. Y'all got enough.
Wow. See, I didn't even think about that.
No,
I haven't gone in the boxes and tested it.
It's all girl stuff. And now that I think about it, and like I don't even have time to really probably deal, like they're all the boxes are different sizes.
Wow.
So like in the perfect world, like there would have been a team of people here to maybe come and go through the donation and size it so that I would know if I was taking like 3 suitcases down, like I'm taking like an equitable amount of small, medium, large, extra large. And then apparently there's some like random tank tops in there that I didn't know they were in there, which were really dope. But I don't have a team, and it's all me. Like, and I also have to figure out how to pay for all these suitcases, this extra luggage, which would be like, I think maybe 50 to 75 each one. So like, I got to figure all that out, and then on the back end. So, but once they get there, the idea would be to, depending on how much we have, to have some kind of camp, like a women's camp.
Whoa, girl power.
Yep.
Doing God's work. Well, listen, may the gods be forever in your favor. You're gonna get it done, I know, but I'm stressed out just thinking about being in your shoes. I can't imagine being in your shoes, and on top of all the other stuff that you had to deal with on the back end, like the Rose Gracie incident and just the coordinating and dealing with all that. But more power to you, yo. Like that's incredible. I feel like you're gonna have like a very productive time in Brazil, but I think you're gonna be really relieved once it's over.
Yeah, like my goal is like, cause I'm always running around, running around, running around. It's like I have an Airbnb to myself for 2 weeks at the base of the favela, which is, now that I think about it, right by my favorite acai spot where I always used to go with my boxing coach, who I need to tell that I'm coming. And it's like, I really just need to chill. Because, like, all I ever do is work. And I worked so hard for this project for so long. It's like, yo, I just want to wake up. Because I also have, like, my hip, like, I hate to say my hip flexor, but it's my hip and my lower back, like my SI joint. It's, like, really sore and it really tightens up. So my goal is just to be doing like yoga on the beach every morning, because I really have to take care of myself. Like, because self-care is important. Like, massages and physical therapy are a lot cheaper down there. I'm not sure the situation with COVID, but I used to do a lot of that when I was there because it was cheaper. But my goal is to like relax a little bit. And even if I can't relax, like working on the beach is still, I think we've talked about this, stressing out on the beach is still nicer.
Hey, crying on the beach is better than crying in Maryland.
Mm-hmm. For sure, for sure.
All right. So, speaking of tears, and may the gods be forever in everyone's favor, we had some UFC fights this past weekend. What were your thoughts? Anything that stuck out?
They were really, really good fights. The one thing that stuck out and wiggled around was that dude's arm.
Yes. Jamal Hill. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm going to be honest. Like, black folks, we got to start pronouncing our names better.
Yo, he could probably pronounce his own name. You gotta start pronouncing other people's names better.
spelling. I'm sorry.
Oh, spelling.
Jamahal. His name is spelled Jamahal. Like, what? Like, we gotta do better as a people with the way we spell stuff. But Paul Craig just destroyed Jamal's arm. Just obliterated it, and the referee totally just let him die.
Yo, he obliterated his arm. The referee gave him enough time to start trying to obliterate his face too.
I think there needs to be better officials. I don't know how they decide who gets to be an official, but you got to have some kind of background as a competitor in one of the major martial arts, whether it be boxing, kickboxing, wrestling, or grappling. You know, like, how do you not know this guy's arm is in peril? Now, if there's principles to this, though. As a competitor, as an athlete, I understand if you want to let the guy continue because he hasn't submitted yet, right? But after you seen the guy's arm flail around and he's just like, it looked like he was flailing around, like he was dying. You got to stop it. You know, if you snap someone's arm in a real life conflict, you're gonna be in peril. Like, you're done. You know what I'm saying? Like, in the wild, one animal breaks another animal's arm or leg or anything like that, they're done. Like, they're sitting duck.
Take it back to the animal or the Tiger King. He said in the wild.
In the wild, think about it. Like,
Yeah,
you've
that's
seen animal
true.
fights.
It's like,
Wild animals, they tap early because they know that there's no hospital. Like, if they get injured like that severely or seriously, they're dead. So if you snap someone's arm in half in an MMA fight and the guy's arm is just like wacky wavo inflatable arm man, it's over. Once again, another MMA referee almost let someone die.
yeah, but yeah, these referees are pretty bad. I really wonder like what kind of training they have to go through to do their job.
I did the IBJJF referees course, and I'm pretty sure that is more thorough than the MMA fighters
And that's a damn
referee.
shame.
Yeah, I think it's easier to be a UFC referee than
Well,
it
you
is.
should try to be a UFC referee, like a Bruce Buffer type, you know.
A Bruce
commentator.
Buffer? He's the announcer. You mean what's the name of that guy? Zudon. I forgot the guy's name. Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy. Yeah, I think I could take his job, but he's a very good official. I know I can do better than Herb Dean. Herb Dean is just the worst. Just the worst. Like,
He's
his
got that
shoes are
clout,
the
though.
worst. Like, his dreads are the worst, and his officiating skills are the worst. The OG Damian Maya, he lost, but he's just still representing jiu-jitsu.
Yo, he's like 45 years old. How old is he?
Old, because when I started doing jiu-jitsu and Arte Suave Volume 2 came out, he was fighting back then, and he did a little cameo in ADCC 2007 and won, and then he was like, all right, I'm going back to fighting. He fought Prime Anderson Silva.
That's crazy. That's amazing to see somebody that's still fighting and getting in that cage and getting signed at that age after so many years. Like, it can't be easy on your body.
Not at all, but his fight style is such that he could fight for a long time. I mean, he's been starched before. He's been put out to sleep, but you got to hand it to him. He was able to be a dog and stay in the fight for so long. We had Leon Edwards versus Nate Diaz.
Oh my God. Like, I guess you can tell by their faces, like the Diaz brothers, but that was just such a rough match. Like, it was so bloody by the end.
They take a beating and they can take it. I mean, they can take it. I mean, you can get beat up, but some people wither. They don't ever wither. And they're probably going to have CTE before it's all said and done. But at least they entertain the people. I think that fighters need to have a union for situations like this. These guys have been fighting for almost 20 years, I believe. A very long time. And I don't think they have a retirement plan. I don't think they're going to get a pension. There's no pensions. It's not like a professional sport.
But what is he going to get out of getting his face split open again and again and again? Like, all of that scar tissue, all of the blood.
Money.
I mean, but by now, if he's been fighting for so long, if he hasn't invested his money into something, if he doesn't have anything else by now.
Nico, I don't even think he knows where he is at any moment in
All right.
time.
Well, I mean,
It's just
that's a
very
whole other
sad.
issue then. That's a whole other issue.
I think it's sad. He did a great job in the final round, but he couldn't get the job done. And unfortunately for Leon Edwards, this guy has a record of 19-3. I don't think he's lost yet in the UFC, and if he has, it was a long time ago. And the guy has been on the streak. Say what you want about Leon Edwards. When the lights are on, definitely lately, he rises to the occasion. I think he could have finished Nate Diaz earlier. He kind of let Nate Diaz get back into it in the final round. But if you're getting beat up for 4 3/4 of a fight and you wobble the guy at the end, I'm not going to give you a whole bunch of props. Like, okay, I get it. You know, to the fans and the fanboys, they're going to worship you, but they're fans.
Yeah, you came back, you did a little something. But, you know, that's the reason there's a whole scorecard throughout the whole.
Exactly. And if we're going to go by pride rules with damage, Leon Edwards damaged Nate Diaz more. And this is just another excuse to not give Leon Edwards the title shot. I think that Leon Edwards has done enough. They want to give it to Colby Covington because all the alt-right racist people, white trash people that like UFC love him so much and what he represents, and they're going to sell a bunch of pay-per-views. And I think there needs to be some kind of government oversight in the ranking system or some kind of oversight from someone not the UFC, because this is criminal. Every other sport, you got to earn your way to the top. You can say what you want about basketball and how it's rigged and how the officials have literally gotten a investigation on them from the government that goes cut short because someone made that phone call like, you're messing with our money. But at least...
No clue what you're talking about, but I...
Okay, so for everyone that's... When you have some free time in Brazil, once you get all your work done, look up Tim Donaghy and the NBA referee cheating scandal.
Right.
I'll send you a link to that too. But it's criminal. It's not fair to Leon Edwards. And people say, oh, life's not fair. Listen, you put on the best matches and the best fights. This guy has not lost yet. They want to give Colby Covington the fight. Who was the last person that Colby Covington beat? Tyron Woodley, I believe. That was ages ago. He already got finished by Kamaru Usman. Kamaru Usman rearranged his face. He damn near killed him the last time they fought. Give the fight to somebody else. And we're going to talk about it in a bonus episode later about how people worship money and how they don't have any principles and they just deify the bag. And I get it. The reason why we have a Patreon, the reason why I go hard on this podcast was for the bag. But give the guys some credit. Give the rightful number one contender their shot. That's all I ask. And the main event, oh, I'm sorry. There's 2 more matches. Brandon Moreno versus Davison Figueiredo.
I didn't watch that one, I'm not going to lie.
All right, so Brandon Moreno just sent Davison Figueiredo to the Shadow Realm. He out-grappled him. Beautiful transition to the back. Excellent finish. Brandon Moreno is a dog. I'm so happy that he won the title because he persevered. He was cut from the UFC, had to fight back to get to the UFC,
That part I saw,
went up
yeah.
the ranks. He took on the boogeyman of the division at the time and went the distance with him and had a really close fight. Could have went either way, arguably. And then he came back and he starched Davison Figueiredo. He was on his bumper the entire fight and finished him within 3 rounds. And he is the first Mexican-born UFC champion. So, Viva la Mexico. Shout out to him. And the main event was Israel Adesanya versus Marvin Vettori. I think that it was a good fight selection by the UFC brass to get Israel Adesanya back on the winning end. I don't know who in 185 is really going to give him any kind of problems now.
There was attempts. Vittori had good takedown attempts, but, you know.
He couldn't finalize.
Yeah.
Jiu-jitsu is important.
Quick. He's, like, really good with trying to get his, like, the knee slice getting out.
Jiu-jitsu is important. They need a jiu-jitsu guy in the UFC that can finish the fight on the ground and not be sloppy and can actually finish it.
I mean, it's hard. Like, imagine trying to, like, submit Nick Diaz or the Diaz brothers with all that blood slishing and slashing all over the place, you know? That makes it considerably harder.
Or sweat. Yeah, I get it. But I would just love to see another world-class jiu-jitsu guy get up in there and mix it up, because the level of grappling in MMA is garbage, and you know there's not many specialists left in MMA anymore that come from different sports and dominate. Like back in the day, there was Crow Cop, who was a K1 Grand Prix finalist, and he was putting people out to pasture. Of course, we had Damian Maia when he first came in the game, and he out-wrestled Chael Sonnen. But there's been a rise, a new specialist, a world-class combat athlete from another sport coming in MMA.
The YouTuber?
No, not the YouTuber. The Olympic champion.
Oh, okay.
Clarissa Shields.
Oh, okay. We're actually talking about real athletes. This is not the Patreon episode. We're not talking about the bag chasers.
No, we're talking about actual
Clarissa
athletes.
Shields. Did you get to see the full fight, or did you just watch the highlights?
I watched the highlights. I did not get a chance to get the bootleg.
Man, I started off with just the finish, waking up to Instagram, to seeing all the posts of victory, to seeing the knockout highlight, like if you're just smashing the other girl's face. But she really had a rough fight, like she was not winning the other 2 rounds. She was on the opposite side of ground and pound. It was tough for her. But it just goes to show you really have to pull through and wait, to turn it around like that in the last round was amazing.
That's a testament to, like we said last episode, about that insane Navy SEAL level training in whatever combat sport that you do. Clarissa Shields is a Olympic champion. And this is going to come off as very bad. It's going to hurt some people's feelings. But the level of athleticism, professionalism, training, and just preparedness to be a champion, it's not there in MMA. It's not, because the level for entry is so low. Anyone can be an MMA fighter. I look at how much work it took for me to get to a high level in jiu-jitsu. Way harder than it would be to even get paid. It's way harder to get paid in jiu-jitsu and get to that high level than I think it would be to MMA, because a lot of it is just a low level of entry. You're talking about a person that went through the Olympic cycle, and then she went professional and had to fight at a high level. Any old jerk can get an MMA promotion. Anyone can get an MMA fight. And then you're going to send people in there to go against an Olympic world champion. Musin said it perfectly when we had him on the show. If you become a world champion in another sport, going into MMA is easy because you already went through it. MMA, it's still in its infancy. We're not too long ago from having Kimbo Slice being in the Ultimate Fighter. You know what I'm saying? No offense to Kimbo, but he's a street fighter.
I mean, like, going into M&A, the training isn't necessarily easier. Like, entry to any kind of fight is easier, or entry into MMA maybe a little bit easier, because, like, boxing is a lot more technical. The gyms are a lot more clicky. But even Clarissa was posting that, you know, MMA training is harder than boxing. And, like, one thing that can be harder about it is if you're properly training each aspect, the wrestling, the Muay Thai, the boxing, and then having to incorporate all of those trainings as opposed to just training boxing and just dealing with what you need to deal with boxing. But like with MMA, you have to incorporate all of those things, and that would definitely make it harder. I just don't feel like that happens. Like, there's so many gyms where people just sign up day one and take an MMA class, and MMA classes don't exist. Like, so if you're at a place where you're taking an MMA class, you should probably be concerned.
Yes, you have to mix it to fix it. You gotta go to specialists. You gotta find a striking specialist. You gotta find a boxing specialist, a wrestling specialist, a jiu-jitsu specialist. And if you're not gonna do that, I don't want to burst your bubble, but you're wasting your time.
Like, maybe, like, if you're just starting out, you just need to do one of them first. Just pick one and start. Like,
Yes.
there's no need, like, to go make, like, I don't know. I competed for years in Muay Thai before I started doing Jiu-Jitsu, but I would think if, like, I were to go back and try to start doing Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu, like, I wouldn't have been able to fight Muay Thai and, like, try to compete Jiu-Jitsu at the same time. Like, the skills that I got from just fighting Muay Thai, like, for, like, because my Muay Thai camps were like, oh, okay, we'll bring in, like, a Taekwondo coach. Like, oh, man, he was making people cry with, like, the way he would stretch, or, like, everything your camp entails is directed around Muay Thai and cutting weight and, like, you know, kicking trees and, like, doing push-ups on trees, and, like, you're not really training jiu-jitsu, and you're training, like, the same functional stuff possibly in certain aspects. Like, there's the clinch. Like, it's very hard to, like, like, the clinch in itself. Like, you could take a whole class on the clinch if you're trying to fight Muay Thai. So to say that, like, you're going to learn Muay Thai while you're also trying to learn jiu-jitsu and wrestling is bullshit.
It just takes time.
It's, like, almost disrespectful to the fact of the people that actually do it, you know? Like, you really have to, like, you have to value each art in what it is.
Absolutely. You got to treat it like a profession. It takes time. And to be honest, if you're going to start to see people that start earlier and have the time to be able to invest in learning all the aspects, take over. Gone are the days where you could be damn near 30 without some kind of thorough background in one of the building blocks of the art and just think you're going to be successful. Because if you do, it's going to end up being like what happened to Marvin Vettori, because Israel Adesanya was a world-class kickboxer, and although he doesn't have the best jiu-jitsu, his striking is so good that the learning curve for him to learn grappling was shorter, because he's not going to be on his back as much, and even if he is, he can focus on the things that are going to help him get off his back and get back into his A game. And that's a lot like how jiu-jitsu is. But that's all I have for today for you, Nico. That's all I got. Anything you like to add?
With the episode in general, or are you talking about UFC?
I mean, the episode.
No, I think we ran through it all. What do we have coming up? We're doing Q&As on the Patreon. Is that correct?
Yes, we got Q&As on the Patreon. We have a bunch of new techniques to show you guys. You can find all of that at patreon.com/Bjj Goons. Join one of the tiers. I suggest that you join the Certified Goons tier because that gives you the most content. You get to see me explain the finer points of jiu-jitsu. And yeah, you get to support the BJJ Goons movement. Nico, where can we find you?
Oh, hold on. Where can they ask their Q&As?
We're going to ask the Q&As.
We're going to ask the Q&As?
We are or they are?
Where can they ask the Q&As?
Oh, well, if you're a member of the Patreon, you can DM us and message us on the Patreon app. If you are a fan, you can send in their questions at BJJ Goons Podcast on Instagram. And of course, in order for you to see us answer the questions, you're gonna have to go on the Patreon to see. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta pay to play. Is what I'm trying to say.
All right. That was the last thing I wanted to clear up. I know a few people were asking about that, so it's just like, we don't have a post. Just ask the question, on the Patreon or the BJJ Goons DM. That's great.
Yes, on
Awesome.
Instagram. So where can we find you, Nico?
On Instagram at no new Nico, or you can just look up Nico Ball if you don't know how to do the underscores. FavellaJujitsu.com will not be shipping for the month of July because I will be in Rio. So just make sure that you go like the BJJ Goons Instagram, like the YouTube, leave a review. It really helps us out with the ratings.
For sure. Make sure you hit that like button. You need to make the likes look like the viewers, and the viewers look like the subscribers. Show some love. Hit that like button. I don't understand. Like, y'all can just hit the like button. Like, y'all don't like the content, you've been watching it. I look at the analytics. Y'all watch most of the episodes. Hook a brother up and share and subscribe to the channel. We need to get these subscribers up because I look at how many people watch this. Just subscribe and like it and share it and comment too and write us a review. You can find me at Tim Spriggs BJJ on Instagram or Facebook. This has been the BJJ Goons Podcast. Peace.
Peace.